For the humans, we're going to start with an old-fashioned. Classic, easy, hard to screw up. So, we're going to start with our ice. You can do one huge crystal clear ice cube that you pay for and go to some store and like do all this other stuff, but I'm human, you get freezer ice. Besides, it's filtered, it's good stuff. So I'm not worried about it. You're going to want a soda. I prefer dark. Personally, I go with Pepsi because it's got more of a caramel to it versus Coca-Cola, where if you have something with a little bit more vanilla forward for a whiskey, you're going to want to go with that. But I'm going with a rye, which has more spice, which lends itself well to the sweet Pepsi. So normally in an old-fashioned, you would add sugar in the bottom, throw in a couple maraschino cherries, throw in a little bit of grenadine, swirl it around until the sugar dissolves a bit. But this is kind of my janky, realistic day-to-day one. So I've got my real grenadine. What am I doing? Oh no! I drank all my grenadine, so I only have fake stuff. That's okay. So we're getting even more janky. So realistically, I'm just gonna throw in some orange. This is not the first time this has happened. I personally do about 2 ounces of whiskey because I make everything tall. Throw in a bit of soda. Sorry, I make everything double. Usually I make it tall as well, but in this instance, got a classic rocks glass. It's good. And if you want, you can squeeze the orange into it. A lot of people express the peel in it. I do if I'm like really trying to make a good one, but this is my realistic day-to-day old-fashioned. Moving on. So next up we have the Vampire's drinks. It's going to be a really simple one. We're going to start out with a martini glass. You're going to need a shaker and strainer, some tempered ice. You're going to need some slow gin. You're going to need ginger. I prefer ginger beer. Ginger ale will also work. Lemon syrup. And Goldschlager. Because we don't buy that silver shit. Oh fuck. Okay, I think I stripped it on accident. Okay. Continuing on with this simple drink. Some ice is in the big tin. Standard. Start with our Goldschlager. Gonna go with an ounce. Got our slow gin. Got our lemon syrup, freshly made. Gonna want about an ounce of that. A touch of ginger beer for effervescence. I'm going with Spreckers, that way I can skip out on some of the syrup, because I don't want this too sweet. Last thing we need is competition for Demetrescu. However the hell her name is said. Oh. You only get a few shakes because it is carbonated. So, don't forget that. We're basically just cooling it down. Drink fit for a queen. This is the princess next door. Huh. If they like cinnamon or fireball, This is going to be that with a cherry tip, which is actually sloe gin. Sloe gin's from slow, so you'll have to try it to know what it tastes like. But it's a nice, fruity, slightly spiced, delicate drink. If they don't like cinnamon, omit it. It just won't have the gold flakes in it, because it's the only reason I chose gold lager. Okay, I need to clean up after this one. Now for the hard drink. So this is a drink that's been around for quite a while. It's one of the original cocktails. So we're very used to it. It is a drink of high class with complex mixtures, very sensitive palates, and very easy to mess up. So let's have the second vampiric drink. We're going to need a shaker glass with tempered ice. We are going to need to strain it eventually. We're going to need whiskey, another whiskey, probably another whiskey, another whiskey, and then sweet vermouth. So the vermouth I went with, God forbid I say this correctly, is Carpano Antica Formula. So this is a sweet, vanilla-heavy vermouth. So vermouths are a tricky beast. Vermouths are extremely different because it's basically the same as saying a gin. It is a fortified wine that is flavored with botanicals. Any botanicals, any plant matter, any kind of mixture makes up the different vermouths. So it's kind of like saying, hey, add wine to your Coca-Cola, because none of these are alike. Ooh. So last time I made a Manhattan, it was absolute garbage. And yes, I hadn't made another until I learned the torture that is vermouth. So I have looked ahead of time, watched a matrix of 42 drinks be consumed in a single video by someone who obviously regretted it the next day. Greg from How to Drink. But great guy, learned a lot from him. I appreciate his hard work and my avoidance of that pain, because I did not want to do this experiment. But every single combination of different whiskeys with each vermouth came up with different identities that came forward within the whiskeys and vermouths. So everywhere you get a Manhattan will be completely different. So go ahead and try them until you figure out what you like. I would say locate a whiskey you like, locate a vermouth you like, and then from there, see if the two make a happy marriage. If not, one might consume the other, it might just be a grand old time. I'm gonna go with a vanilla forward one, because I grew up on rums. It says it's an aperitif and you can drink it on the rocks. It has a bitter note to it for sure, which all vermouths will, because it's made from wormwood originally. But that's so much better than the other vermouths I've tried. So I would personally recommend, if you have a sweet tooth, or you like rums, or you just have a white girl palate, go with the Carpano Antica Formula. So it is going to be, oops, I'm pouring into the wrong one. I'm gonna trust my cheap rye. My ice was in the wrong tin. Nice short drink. So it's usually 2 parts whiskey to 1 part vermouth. You want the ice in there because the ice dilution is actually a large part of it. By the end of it, you should have 1 part vermouth, 1 part water, chilled from the ice, and then 2 parts whiskey. That's technically the final formula by weights. And this is a classic cocktail, so don't be disappointed if there's headroom on your glass. Let's see if I chose poorly, or if this is good whiskey. Ryes have a nice spicy note to it, so I chose my Jack Daniel's rye, which is a good cheap rye. It ranks really well, surprisingly, for being affordable. The company did a really good job with their research. Refrigerate your vermouths. They do go bad, they're made of botanicals. Plants. Plants have such a short lifespan. Oh, last time this was a terrible mistake. Not bad. It actually brings out smoky notes. That actually makes it taste a lot like a scotch. That's actually very fascinating. It's like a charred oak barrel now. The rye is mostly gone. Interesting. It just tastes like a 5-year scotch at this point. So it did add a lot of complexity to it. That's actually really cool. But I'm not a huge scotch fan. I'll have to try the, I think the Grandfather or the Powers Irish might do better. But maybe I'll do that in another episode. I don't want to repeat that mistake quite yet. I'll do an episode purely on Manhattans if you actually want me to do that. Oh, before I forget, help me fight the algorithm. That thing is a gnarly beast. These videos will go out to no one. They will not be able to help anyone unless we like, subscribe, and comment, because interactions are how you fight the algorithm nowadays. Weird machines, this and that, but... Moving on. That was the last drink. I'm super excited for Resident Evil 8, or Village. I've looked up nothing, I know no spoilers, so please no spoilers in the comments. Comment on my terrible drinks instead. But, in the meantime, I think I'm going to follow this up with some more human drinks, because the cattle need something to nourish themselves on.